Welcome to In Conversation with MANWAR podcast. This podcast is brought to you by the Do Not Be a Bystander campaign. You can join us in raising awareness about bullying by visiting donotbeabystander.com, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming episodes. Today's participants are Shanza, Afsa, and Faiza. Our special guest of today's episode is Doug Brinkman.
I'm your host, Manwar Khan. Today I'm joined by three young individuals who are ready to share their thoughts and insights on the topic of bullying. They all have the same goal: eliminating bullying in school and communities. These young individuals are passionate about addressing the issue of bullying and willing to empower others. And that's why they are here today at the show. Today's participants are Shanze, Afsa, and Faiza.
Hello.
Thank you guys for joining here today. Before we continue, I would like to introduce our special guest for today's podcast, Dog. I can write a paragraph about dog. I know so many things about dog, but I just summarize something and I want to talk about what whose dog is. So dog worked 42 years in publishing industry as a graphic arts craftsman and employed by various newspapers. He volunteered 10 years in community theater as a public relation director and set painter. He's a civil information activist of 16 years focused on human and civil right and politics. He's an outsider artist who loves to draw and paint and shared the stories behind his art during his outdoor art shows. So that's all about Dog. I must acknowledge one thing that Dog's activism work has been a significant inspiration to me always, and it has got a profound impact on me, even though Dog may not know about that. Anyway, today Dog will share his thoughts and opinion on the issue of bullying. He will be overseeing and monitoring and watching your participation here and share his insights at the end of this podcast. Now that we have introduced our participants and guests, let's get started with our first round of questioning. So, bullying is a significant problem that impacts students in school around the world. This issue is a serious issue. It's not only one kind of bullying: physical, verbal, and all different types of bullying, including cyberbullying. So, my first question for Shanza is: can you tell us what is bullying? Can you talk about different types of bullying with some example? Thank you.
So bullying is basically making fun of others, like making fun of their clothes, making fun of their background, and etc. Like there are different kinds of bullying, like cyberbullying, verbal, physical bullying. So like I would like to share a story about my classmate. So she was actually bullied a lot by a senior who used to think she was a senior so she can do anything she wants. And she used to bully my classmate a lot. And then when we complained the authorities about it, they actually didn't take any action about it at first. But then when it started to get bad, like she used to hit her every day. And then like if we complained every day, and one day the authorities took an action and then they expelled her from the school. And this is a story.
So, Shanza, the story you just shared, so that is kind of a physical bullying, right?
Yes,
Yeah. And somebody eventually reported, I believe, or somebody did speak up,
yes,
and then authority found out and took an action, right?
yes. My
Right.
friend was actually very scared to say anything to her parents because she was scared that they were going to scold her, but then she actually opened up and parents were complaining about it that why didn't you tell me this and that. But then they complained to the authorities.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. That's sad, that's sad. This is a pretty common story when it comes to bullying. Now kids sometimes internalize it. They don't share. They don't like to share. They feel shame. But those are the reason we are having this conversation. Later we will find out how we can handle this and what should be our role as bystander if we witness something like this. Thank you so much, Shanza, for your answer. I really appreciate
Welcome.
that. So, my next question goes to Afza. Identifying if someone is being bullied may not be always clear because bullying can happen in, as I mentioned, in all different forms. So, can you give us an example and can you actually tell me how do you know if someone is being bullied? Is there any signs that can tell that, okay, this person is being bullied?
I think nowadays a lot of people they can't express their feelings well, but there's still some visible signs, such as their body language. For example, people they like to distance themselves from their loved ones when they're getting bullied. They have random bruises on their bodies, and they get angry. They have mood swings, major mood swings all of a sudden. And in case of school bullying, I think they like to avoid going to school. And I think these are some signs that they might be bullied.
Great answer. Actually, those are the signs actually parents needs to watch out for, right?
Yes.
And there's one more thing I want to add that I had to talk to one of the parents and figure out why if the kids are her kids was being bullied or not. So there are a couple questions I asked, and one of them was to check out if all her belongings are coming with her when she comes from school. And she found out, mom found out later that every day lunch box is missing. Lunches are missing. She was not eating lunch. Somebody else was eating lunch or throwing it out. So those are the things parents needs to watch out, I guess. And there are lots of signs. These are the signs. That really doesn't mean that that person is being bullied though, but these are the signs you need. If you see it, you need to, parents needs to focus on and watch out for those, right? Excellent. Thank you so much, Hafsan. That was a great answer. So the next question for Faiza, what do you think are the reason why someone might bully another person?
Well, there are a lot of reasons people might bully other people. For example, they could be jealous of something that they have, then they take it out on that person, or envy, or they might just do it because they're bored and they just want to have fun. Now, sometimes, most cases, for 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 students, there might be something going on at home and they just take it out on someone less powerful than them.
That's actually, I totally agree with you. And that could be one of the reasons. You don't know what is happening at home, right? Sometimes we just go and blame the bully. I mean, yeah, bully, what they're doing, that's not right. But again, sometimes we do not look for the root cause why this is happening. Maybe this person is having a bad day or having a bad life at home, right? And maybe he is or she is watching these kind of things at home every day. So maybe for him or her, it is normal to act with her friends this way or bully someone. So yeah, this is important. All these are the things. There could be many reasons that can someone can bully. Excellent. Thank you, Faiza, for your answer. So with the first round of questions completed, it is moving on to the I am to the second round. And my first question for Shanza is in the context of bullying, there is a term called bystanders. Can bystanders can play an important role. when it comes to bullying? Preventing bullying, stopping bullying. Can you tell me what do you understand by bystanders, and can you give an example?
Bystanders are people who just, for example, there's an argument going on between two people, and bystanders just watch the fight going on and do nothing about it. And they actually ignore the fact that two people are fighting, or the bully is bullying the victim. They don't try to help the victim. There are many reasons they don't help the victim. There, there may be because they're scared of getting bullied themselves, or they get scared that they're gonna get involved in the fight, and then they're gonna go to the principal or something. They're gonna inform the parents. And then their parents may be strict, so their parents may scold them a lot or hit them. So bystanders are people who don't like who just watch the fight going on and do nothing about it.
Right. So if someone, I do, you do not have this question, but I'm going to ask you this. If someone bully your friend, Shanza, um, what do you think? What do you think? What would be your first response? What you can do for him or her?
I would go take a stand for him or her, and I would encourage them to take a stand for themselves.
Excellent. Also, I want to add here one more thing. It is important. I would like to mention that before you step in, intervene, or take a stand, always make sure that if this is safe for you or not. That
Yes,
situation has to be safe for you first. If it is safe, then you help. Even if it is not safe, you still can take a stand, but you do not go physically there. You try to mobilize people, tell adults, trusted adult, teachers, your mom and dad, or somebody else. But all I'm saying as a bystanders, we don't say that, okay, they are bullying that person. This is not my business. Never say that. This is everybody's business. If somebody, the injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So
yes.
thank you so much. That's a great answer, Shanza. So so next question is for Absa. Absa, one of the types of bullying is cyberbullying, and it can has a serious negative impact on victims. So my question for you is, what is cyberbullying? What do you understand by that? And can you give an example? And how do you think it can affect mental health?
Uh, Cyberbullying is basically bullying someone through the use of electronic devices like social media. And I think it has a big impact on us because people our age, we like to depend on social media. So for example, if I post a picture of myself where I thought I look good, but someone comments stuff like, oh no, your nose look big or your hair does not look good, it would have a negative impact on me and I would lose the confidence in myself. So I
And
think
you
it plays a big
exactly.
role in your mental health.
Exactly. It can lead to depression, can lead to sadness, and so that is very important right now. When we were kids, bullying was there too, but bullying was at the schoolyard playground. But now bullies can follow you to home because you have your cell phone, you have your computer, you have your technology inside your house. So you just have to be very careful when it comes to cyberbullying. And you post anything online or anybody share anything online, the moment you see it, you are not part of the solution anymore. You are part of the problem. So then in that case, you can say, okay, this is not right sending this, and I will not see it, and I will let my friends know that you guys should not be seeing these things. It doesn't have to be you. It may be for somebody else's, but this is how we can stand up against cyberbullying, right? And educating people, what you just said, that let people know that these are not right thing. What you are doing, these are not right thing. This is a crime. When you are sending somebody else's picture, recording somebody without their consent, those are crimes, right? So yeah, basically that's it. Thank you so much. That's a great answer, Afsa. So my next question is for Faiza. Why it is important to stand up to bullying, and help those who are being bullied? Why do you think it is important?
Because it is very important for us to stand up to those being bullied. Because because if we don't stand up, if we just sit and do nothing, the bullying goes on. It continues. The bullies might feel it's okay for them to bully as no one is calling them out, as they're getting away with it. Also, for the victims, they might take a wrong step. They might resort to self-destructive activities such as smoking or drinking to cope with the bullying. So yes, we should always stand up to those being bullied.
Excellent. And this should be our um, moral responsibility. If you witness, if you do not know, you do not know, but if you witness somebody is being bullied, it is our moral responsibility that to help that person. And I want to share in different episode. I already shared that story. I want to share with you guys. When I was school, I nobody ever bullied me. Nobody. It's because all of my friends. I mean, lots of my friends were bully, so they didn't bully me. But I saw them bullying other kids. So it was a tricky situation for me. I cannot go and fight with my friends not to bully them, right? But then I did is I became friends with those victims. The moment I became friends, bullying stopped because they are part of our team now, right? So sometimes when you are there, victims feel isolated, alone, and once you are there to with them, they feel empowered, right? So being friends with the victim might help him or her to overcome the situation, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. I do not have any other questions for round. So we just finished our second round. The last segment is our final group discussion. I will be asking a question that would be only for our participants, and you will be answer uh, in one sentence. um, um, but before I go there, I would like to now invite, for some reason, I think there is a echoing here. Uh, I'm not sure. Is it me? Let me check. Okay. Yeah. I would like to invite our special guest dog to share his thoughts on this topic.
Well, thank you for inviting me onto this very important podcast, and thank you, ladies, for your to the answers to these very good questions. And I'm a very visual person, as you might think, as being a painter or someone who loves to draw and paint. So I made a few notes along the way. Uh, Not very good pictures, but I kind of scribble it down pretty quick. But I put some mental notes together that I'd like to share with you. Starting with with the cyberbullying, I know this is something that even adults experience these days on social media, and I know that it's very important to just to be a good participant on social media. It also includes using some of the tools that are at our disposal, such as blocking people, muting people that are just not very nice. Um, I'll get that out of the way. The other point that I wanted to share is, and I believe it was Shanza that got me thinking about this. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And it was about how when we see bullying taking place, how we all see this, and a lot of us don't do anything. It could be something on the job place or at school, or right there in our neighborhood, and we sort of kind of like look the other way. And it inspired a very important um, saying by Martin Luther King, and pardon me if I don't quote it word for word correctly. Uh, it was never the violence that was an issue for Martin Luther King by the few, but the silence of the many. And this is a very powerful message for me. And and finally, I just like to finish off by saying that to understand a bully, to understand someone who resorts to violence. To understand someone who gets angry is to really look in the mirror and start with that person, because each and every one of us has that potential of being all three. I have, over my lifetime, I have been a bully, and I've been bullied, and I know I don't like it. Um, I know what violence can be. I've seen it, and I know that I had that potential, as well as the anger, and that's where I'm going to get to. This is a diagram that I did a few weeks ago. I call this the angry flower, and it's really a meter in finding out just how angry am I at the time, uh, for myself, the guy I see in the mirror every day. And I've resolved from a long time ago that I am a pretty angry guy. And but what is important is that to see the change that I want to see in this world, uh, dealing with bullying, dealing with anger and violence. That change begins with me. So it's almost like every day I ask myself, well, what can I do to deal with the bullying that we see every day in our schools, in our workplaces, and in our communities? Well, that change begins with me. To understand the bully is to understand myself, that we all have this potential. And I think it's important. I think that's the solution to the changes that we need to see in our societies when it comes to bullying, that we need to deal with it that way. I don't know how my time is. I just want to add one more thing. I always found that how I dealt with bullies is to respond in love. So important. We hear people talking about this all the time. But in my case, as an activist of 16 years, I learned that when you respond to bullies in situations that are pretty bad with love, you ultimately come out on top, and the bully feels quite ashamed. And I've proven this many, many times. And I think that's the answer to a lot of bullying, is to try to understand the bully by looking at ourselves in the mirror. And secondly, responding to bullying with love.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Doug. I really appreciate your insights here. All right. So, my last question for our participants, Afza, Shanza, and Faiza. Um, each of you can answer in one sentence. What can we do as a group to prevent bullying? I will go with Faiza first.
First of all, we can reassure the victims of bullying that there are people for them to talk to about all the bullying they're facing. And then we can perhaps have a talk with the bullies about what bullying is and how it affects the people being bullied. I feel like a small talk would have a great change in their mentality, and it would help to stop bullying.
Excellent. Thank you. Shanza.
So, if the bullying is in school, then we can inform the authorities and the victim's parents and encourage the student to take a stand for him or herself. And then the school authorities can always take an action. Parents can also take an action about the bully. Yeah, and we can always stand up for the victims
Excellent.
if
Thank you.
it's safe.
And Afza.
So I think in this case we should always like listen to both parties. We should always listen to the bullies and the victim. And we should explain to the bullies that it's never okay to bully someone. We should listen to their problems and try to find a solution for
Exactly.
both of them. I think that's all.
Exactly. Oh,
Thank you.
great answer. Excellent. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of the podcast. I would like to thank to our participants Shanza, Afza, and Faiza, and today's guest Dog. I really appreciate for taking everyone taking time out of your busy schedule and joining this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Before we wrap up, I would like to remind our listeners that there are several resources available to help individual dealing with bullying. The government of Alberta has a bullying helpline, and the number is 1-888-456-8720. 2323. Bullying is a violation of human right and should not be tolerated under any circumstances. We all have the responsibility to speak up, take a stand against bullying, and do not be a bystander. Thank you so much for joining in conversation with Manwar Khan, and we will see you next week.
Bye.